Krishna, everybody. Welcome to Kids Krishna Katha. My sister's going to tell a very special story. So let's start. Nama Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Jananandana Yashodanandana Braja Jananandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Jananandana Yashodanandana Braja Jananandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री वरदास भगवान की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र मैया की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Gurudev.
Hare Krishna everybody, and welcome back to Kids Krishna Katha. Today, the verse that we are going to be looking at is in Canto 1, Chapter 7, Text 43. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtiki. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Uvacha cha sahantyasya bandhana nayanam sati mucchatamesha brahmano nitaram guru. Uvacha said, cha and, asahanti being unbearable for her, asya his, bandhana being bound, anayanam bringing him, sati the devoted, mucchatam just get him released, eshaha this brahmana a brahmana, nitaram our guru teacher. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. She could not tolerate Ashwatthama's being bound by ropes, and being a devoted lady, she said, "Release him, for he is a Brahmana, our spiritual master." So in the translation, when it says she, it is referring to Draupadi, and we will be looking into the situation in more depth in the following story summary. Purport. As soon as Ashwatthama was brought before Draupadi, she thought it intolerable that a Brahmana should be arrested like a culprit and brought before her in that condition, especially when the Brahmana happened to be a teacher's son. Arjuna arrested Ashwatthama, knowing perfectly well that he was the son of Dronacharya. Krishna also knew him to be so. But both of them condemned the murderer without consideration of his being the son of a Brahmana. According to revealed scriptures, a teacher or spiritual master is liable to be rejected if he proves himself unworthy of the position of a guru or spiritual master. A guru is also called an acharya, or a person who has personally assimilated all the essence of Shastras and has helped his disciples to adopt the ways. Ashwatthama failed to discharge his duties of a Brahmana or teacher, and therefore he was liable to be rejected from the exalted position of a Brahmana. On this consideration, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna were right in condemning Ashwatthama. But to a good lady like Draupadi, the matter was considered not from the angle of Shastric vision, but as a matter of custom. By custom, Ashwatthama was offered the same respect as offered to his father. It was so because generally the people accept the son of a Brahmana as a real Brahmana, by sentiment only. Factually, the matter is different. The Brahmana is accepted on the merit of qualification and not on the merit of simply being the son of a Brahmana. But in spite all of this, Draupadi desired that Ashwatthama be at once released, and it was all the same a good sentiment for her. This means that a devotee of the Lord can tolerate all sorts of tribulation personally, but still, such devotees are never unkind to others, even to the enemy. These are the characteristics of one who is a pure devotee of the Lord. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Shripadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunvadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gauravata Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So everything is explained in the purport. Last Thursday we learned how Ashwathama was caught by Arjuna and taken to Draupadi because he had murdered the 5 sleeping sons in the worst way possible. So Arjuna wanted to punish him. And before that, Ashwathama had released the Brahmastra, but he didn't know how to withdraw it. And Arjun had turned to Krishna for his help and guidance. And with Krishna's advice, he had also released his Brahmastra and then withdrawn both of them back. After this, he took Ashwathama back to his camp. And here we see what happens. So, Draupadi knows that he has murdered her 5 sons, but still she says that he be released. Why? Because by custom one should respect a Brahmana's son just like the Brahmana, especially if the Brahmana is a teacher, and Dronacharya in this case was a very great teacher. He was the teacher of so many princes and kings all over the world. But Arjuna and Krishna, they saw this, they knew this, but they didn't really see Ashwathama as the son of a Brahmana. They saw him as the son of Dronacharya, who was liable to be rejected, who was qualified to be punished because he was unworthy. He had done such a heinous crime, such a heinous act. And the last line is very important. These are the characteristics of one who is a pure devotee of the Lord. So Draupadi was so compassionate. And according to revealed scriptures, a teacher or spiritual master is liable to be rejected if he proves himself unworthy. And in this case, Ashwathama had not discharged his duties as a spiritual master or teacher or Brahmana. And we will be looking into this more deeply later. So I thought that last class I would narrate a story of Draupadi and the magical pot, because it shows how much faith Draupadi has in Krishna and how Krishna is always ready to for his devotees. He is always ready whenever his devotees are ready for him, whenever they think about him or call out to him. How he is always protecting the devotees, and how he is always wanting the benefit of all his devotees, not just his devotees, for everybody, how we saw last time. So, this amazing story is about Draupadi and the Akshay Patra. So, as we may all know, in the Mahabharata, the 5 Pandava princes were the real heirs to the throne. But Duryodhan was always wanting to get rid of them because he wanted to be the king. He wanted everything. He wanted all the opulence for himself. But the Pandavas had Krishna on their side. But one day, by cheating in a gambling match, Duryodhan had managed to banish the 5 Pandavas away to the forest in exile for 13 years. Does that sound familiar? Yes. The same had happened also in Ramayana. Ram had been banished to the forest for 14 years in exile by his stepmother Kaikai. Now, moving back to the story, the Pandavas were banished. So they lived in the forest, but they were very peaceful always and never complained. And most of all, they always remembered Lord Krishna. During their exile, Vivashvan, the sun god, gave Yudhishthir a magical pot called the Akshay Patra, meaning the inexhaustible vessel. And Yudhishthir, showing his gratitude to the sun god, then presented this magical vessel to his wife, Draupadi, because she was the one who cooked the meals for them all. This magical pot, could produce unlimited food per day. But once Draupadi had eaten her meal, it would stop producing food for the day. And it would again start producing food the next day. And then again Draupadi would eat, and again it would stop, and so on. So in this way, even though they lived in the forest, they lived very, very happy lives, and they never went hungry. But Duryodhan was always trying to get rid of them, always scheming in his mind how to get rid of them, a wicked plot. On one such occasion, he was camping nearby them and spying on them. In this instance, Durvasa Muni happened to pass by, and he entered Duryodhan's camp. And he was not with him. He didn't come by himself. He came with his thousands of associates and followers and disciples. Now, cunning Duryodhan had a devious plan in his mind. So he very cautiously and carefully welcomed Durvasa Muni with utmost care and respect and affection. And during Durvasa Muni's stay at Duryodhan's camp, Duryodhan personally made sure that everything he wanted was given to him. Even at night, when Durvasa Muni was hungry, Duryodhan made sure that food was brought to him immediately. So obviously, after this, Durvasa Muni was very pleased with him. Now, Durvasa Muni is reputed for his short-temperedness, and he very easily gets angry. And when he gets angry, he puts dreadful curses upon people. But at the same time, whenever he is pleased, he is fast to give benedictions. So in this case, he was very pleased with Duryodhan, and he asked Duryodhan what he wanted for a boon. Now Duryodhan was very clever. He didn't want Durvasa Muni to know that his intentions were pure evil, that he was very bad indeed. So, putting on a very sweet voice with innocence, Duryodhan said, I only desire for you to meet my cousins who are fortunately just nearby, so that they can have the pleasure of meeting you and getting your blessings. Now Durvasa Muni happily agreed. So then he set off to the Pandavas' camp, and he was very nicely welcomed there too by the 5 Pandavas, led by Yudhishthir, the eldest one. But when the Pandavas saw that he had come with so many people, they were shocked. So Yudhishthir quickly told Draupadi, "Quickly, bring out the Akshay Patra so that we can feed all these people." But Draupadi then said, "I have already eaten the meal for the day, so it can't produce any more food for the day until tomorrow." Now they were all panic-stricken that Akshay Patra didn't produce any food, because Draupadi had already eaten her meal. So what should they do? They couldn't go in search of food at this time. The sages must be so hungry. And they knew that Durvasa Muni was very quick to put on dreadful curses upon people. So Yudhishthir then had a little conversation with Durvasa Muni, after which he said, "Dear Durvasa, you must be so tired after walking for such a long time. Why don't you go and bathe in the Ganges while we prepare your food?" So Durvasa Muni agreed, and he and all his companions went to the river Ganges to bathe. Now everybody was panic-stricken. They didn't know what to do. Then Draupadi did the only thing that she knew would help. She cried out for Krishna, "Krishna! Krishna!" And as if by magic, Krishna appeared. When Krishna appeared, Draupadi told him all that had happened and if he could solve this. Krishna merrily smiled and did not reply. He just said, "I am very hungry. Please give me some food." Draupadi was now even more tearful. She said, "Oh my lord, now I have two problems. I can't feed all the sages and I can't also feed you. What shall I do?" Krishna smiled even more and said, "Give me the Akshay Patra." So Draupadi obediently brought the Akshay Patra before Krishna, and Krishna took the pot in his hands and said, "Oh, this is very yummy." And he took a morsel of vegetable which was stuck on the rim of the pot between his two fingers and popped it into his mouth with great relish. "Oh, so tasty," he said. Draupadi couldn't understand what was going on. Krishna then called Bhim, who was the strongest of the 5 Pandavas, and said to him, "Go and bring the sages back from their bath and tell them that their meal is ready." So Bhim also obediently followed Krishna's instructions and went to tell the sages. When he informed the as he went to the Ganges, he saw a very strange sight. He saw that everybody in the waters was rubbing their tummy. And he wondered, what has happened here? And then he heard the sages talk amongst themselves. "Oh, I'm feeling so full already. I'm so satisfied." As Bhima approached, Durvasa Muni turned around and saw him. He quickly told all his companions to get out of the water. "Look, Bhima is coming to tell us that our food is ready. If we tell him now that we are already full, then we will be in for it." So they quickly got out of the water, half dressed, and began running away into the woods. Bhima laughed and laughed and laughed and went back to the camp to tell all the others. Then Draupadi said, "I realize what has happened. If you water the roots of a tree, then its other parts, the twigs, leaves, branches and flowers, are all benefited. Krishna is like the root of the tree. So when Krishna is satisfied, everyone is satisfied, including Durvasa and his thousands of followers." So it is very nicely explained. Krishna is like the root, and when we pour water into the roots, the whole tree starts to grow. But when we just water the leaves and the twigs, nothing will happen. It's no use. But Krishna is the root, and if we satisfy Lord Krishna, all his devotees are satisfied. Another thing to learn from this story is that Bhima and Draupadi immediately listened to Krishna. They didn't doubt him. So even though Krishna said he was hungry, and when he said to Draupadi to bring him the Akshay Patra, Draupadi obediently brought the Akshay Patra without doubting him or asking any further questions. So this is how they were saved from Durvasa Muni's anger. Now, moving on to the story summary. We stopped off over here. Arjun looked at Ashwathama angrily, with eyes blazing like 2 red balls of copper. He grabbed the foolish son of a Brahmana and bound him with the ropes just like an animal. "He killed your sleeping sons," Krishna reminded him, "and he will have to pay back this karma in his next life if you don't punish him now. Also, you promised Draupadi that you would sever his head. He even displeased his own master. So remember, when he told what he had done to Duryodhan, even Duryodhan was baffled. He was very disappointed. I think you should kill this wretched Ashwathama right now." Arjuna was angry, but he didn't feel like killing Ashwathama. So he dragged him back to his camp and presented the wretched Ashwathama to his wife, Draupadi. Ashwathama looked just like an animal bound up with ropes, and he stood silently before her. The kind-hearted Draupadi couldn't bear to see him in such a state. "Release him," she cried with tears in her eyes. He is still the son of a Brahmana, so we must respect him. After all, it was by the mercy of his father, Dronacharya, that you learned the military art of throwing and controlling weapons. And besides, she sobbed, I wouldn't want his mother to cry for the loss of her son like I am now. So, as we discussed this in the shloka, Draupadi is requesting Arjuna to release Ashwathama. And another very important reason that she is saying this, that I've missed out, is that Draupadi is saying, I wouldn't want his mother to cry for the loss of her son like I am now. Other people would want to do the opposite of what Draupadi is doing. If something bad has happened to them, they want others to feel bad. They want others to feel depressed. They want others to go through the same suffering as them. But Draupadi was very compassionate, and she didn't want Ashwathama's mother to grieve over Ashwathama. Everyone, including King Yudhishthir, Arjun, Nakula and Sahadev, agreed with her, except for Bhima. Bhima shouted with great anger, No! He didn't act like a Brahmana. He should be killed! By now, Arjuna was very confused. So, Bhima and Krishna are asking for Ashwathama to be killed, but his brothers and Draupadi are asking him to be saved and not killed. So he is in a dilemma now. What should he do? He looked at Krishna, who smiled. You both are right, Krishna advised. A son of a Brahmana shouldn't be killed. But he didn't act as a Brahmana, so he can be killed. And the scriptures tell us that both ways are right. So you must now decide what to do to satisfy me, your brother Bhima, and your wife Draupadi. Yes, thought Arjun, I know what to do. He pulled out his sword and plucked the jewel from Ashwathama's head, chopped off his hair, and then unbound him and drove him away out of the camp. Every last bit of Ashwathama's honor was gone, which was a fate worse than death. In this way, the humiliated Ashwathama was at the same time killed and not killed by the intelligence of Lord Krishna and his dear friend Arjuna. The Pandavas and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, then started the proper rituals for their deceased sons. So, here, what Arjun did to satisfy all three people was he chopped off Ashwathama's hair and his jewel. Now, for Kshatriyas, it is even more humiliating than death itself to have all your hair cut off. And Ashwathama's power was his jewel, which was situated on his forehead. And when that was chopped off, he was completely powerless. He couldn't do anything. And he was also humiliated. He couldn't show his face to any other Kshatriyas, because such Kshatriya's hair is so important. And when it's cut off, it is very humiliating. So in this way, the humiliated Ashwathama was at the same time killed and not killed by the intelligence of Lord Krishna and his dear friend Arjuna. Now, it's time for the quiz. So, number one, number one, Vyasadeva taught the Srimad Bhagavatam to his son. What was his son's name? A. Shaunaka Rishi. B. Sukadev Goswami. C. Vyasadeva. So we know that Vyasadeva was the author of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he also had a son, and this son narrated the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj in 7 days and nights without any food or water. Okay, I have one answer. Noting it down. So the three options are A. Shaunaka Rishi, B. Sukadev Goswami, C. Vyasadeva. So who was Vyasadev's son? One more answer. Let's see who gets the third one first. I am counting. So we know that Ashwathama was the son of Dronacharya and Bhima was the strongest and biggest of the Pandavas, and Yudhishthira was the eldest. Lord Krishna is obviously the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Draupadi is the wife of the Pandavas and a very great devotee of the Lord. So these are the main characters in this story summary, and next Thursday we are going to be moving on to chapter 8. Yes, I've got another answer. Well done, all of you. That means you've been listening. Okay, any more? Okay, we'll proceed on to the next question. Number 2. Sukadeva Goswami was already free from the material world, so he was happy. So when he heard these stories about Krishna, he felt A. Happy, B. Blissful, C. Angry. Okay, I've got one more answer for number 1. Yes, good. Okay, so I'll read out the question again. Sukadeva Goswami was already free from the material world, so he was happy. So when he heard these stories about Krishna, he felt A. Happy, B. Blissful, C. Angry. Okay, I've got another 3 answers. Let's see who will get them all right. Yes. Now, number 3. What did Ashwathama do that was so horrific? Now this one doesn't have an options, but it is very obvious. So just type down the answer in your own words. So what did Ashwathama do which was so horrific? Anybody? So it was this reason that all his hair was chopped off along with his jewel. Okay, yes, well done, Srimad Prabhuji. You are first every time. Okay. So I'll just read the first one again and then we'll move on to the second one. What did Ashwathama do that was so horrific? 6. Was Duryodhan happy with this? So yes or no? I've got one more. Oh. Okay. Alright, so the other question was Duryodhan happy with this? Okay, yes, I've noted down your answer, Sumit Prabhuji. Now, okay, I've got one more. And 2 more. Alright. Oh, one more. Okay, next question is, who chased Ashwathama to kill him? So, put the name down. Who chased Ashwathama to kill him? Did Ashwathama stand and fight or try to run away on his chariot when he saw coming after him? So, number 7 is, who chased Ashwathama to kill him? Wow, Sumit Prabhuji, you're as fast as lightning. That's great. And announcement. in these past few weeks, Sumit Prabhuji has been getting the most points. So everybody, you have to catch up to Sumit Prabhuji and come every Thursday and answer these quizzes, and you will get an amazing prize. And most of all, you will get blessings of Krishna. You'll become more knowledgeable and more advanced in your spiritual path. So it's all the more better for you. So shall I read the questions again? Who chased Ashwatthama to kill him? And did Ashwatthama stand and fight or try to run away on his chariot when he saw coming after him? Okay, I've got one more. And one more. And one more. Yes, Srimad Prabhuji, and feel more blissful. Of course, that is the best bit. When we are engaged in Krishna's devotional service, and this is also Krishna's devotional service, answering quizzes about Krishna, then we feel blissful and happy and have lots of fun with other devotees too. Danika, Ashwatthama ran away. Yes, that is correct, Danika. Ashwatthama did run away. You might have also heard this in the Bhagavatam stories, haven't you? With Vimala Mataji, I think, and Piya Mataji. So you will be very, very clever, Danika. Thank you for your answer. Sudharma Mataji ran away. Yes. And yes again. But no one so far has got 3 points. Everybody is getting 2 points, but nobody's got 3 points. Because remember, to get 3 points, you need to tell me the answer as well why you gave that answer. So you can try it if you want. So I'm just going to Danika, yes, it is in the picture Bhagavatam. Yes. So basically the whole Bhagavatam is in the picture Bhagavatam, right? So it starts off with Narad Muni's story and then goes to Ashwatthama's story and then so on. So you will be very, very advanced in all of this, Danika. Alright, next question, sorry. Number 9. When Ashwatthama's horses were tired, what did he do? A. Run. B. Hide. C. Shoot the fiery Brahmastra arrow. So Krishnendra Prabhu, explain why, which part. So basically when you don't have to do this every time, but when you feel like it or when you really know it, whatever answer you give, you have to tell me why that is the correct answer. So maybe if it's not the yes and no question and direct question, but maybe when it's an opinionated question or something that you just feel is correct. So when there are questions like what would you do if you were in Ashwatthama's situation, then you would give your answer and tell me why you gave that answer. So, for example, if I was in Ashwatthama's situation, I would run away and hide because I am scared of Arjuna and Krishna. So it's my answer and also a little explanation. Okay, carrying on. Okay, I've got one answer so far of number 9. When Ashwatthama's horses were tired, what did he do? A. Run. B. Hide. C. Shoot the fiery Brahmastra. So I've just got a few more questions left and I'll just quickly go through them. Anybody else? When Ashwathama's horses were tired, what did he do? A. Run. B. Hide. C. Shoot the fiery Brahmastra arrow. Okay, number 10. Who withdrew the fiery Brahmastra arrow? A. Ashwathama. B. Arjun. C. Krishna. Just tell me if I'm going a bit too fast, because I haven't really got any more answers yet. Okay, one more. I've got one more. And okay. And yes. Krishnendra Prabhu, Danika, Janitai, Nandan. Answer for number 10 is Lord Krishna. Okay. 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 So, this number 10 question was, who withdrew the fiery Brahmastra arrow? A. Ashwathama. B. Arjun. C. Krishna. So, it was actually Arjun who withdrew the Brahmastra. But he did this asking Krishna. So maybe he got a little bit confused. So he asked Krishna what he should do when Ashwathama's Brahmastra was coming towards him. But he was the one who actually released his Brahmastra. And then he withdrew both of them. So yes, it is Arjuna. Okay, number 11. We're almost at the end. Who wanted Ashwathama released? A. Bhim. B. Draupadi. C. Yudhishthir. So, number 11 is, who wanted Ashwathama released? A. Bhim. B. Draupadi. And C. Yudhishthir. We're almost at the end of the quiz. Just 2 more questions left. Anybody? I'll read it again. Who wanted Ashwathama released? A. Bhima. B. Draupadi. C. Yudhishthir. Okay. Wow! Sumit Prabhuji, you earn 3 points because you gave an explanation too. That's great. But that was actually a trick question. You see, this is what I said. Who wanted Ashwathama released? A. Bhima. B. Draupadi. C. Yudhishthir. So both Draupadi and Yudhishthir wanted Ashwathama released. Everybody wanted Ashwathama to be released except for Bhima and Krishna. But yes, you still got it right, so I'm still going to give you all 2 points. So, yeah. All gonna, and Srimad Prabhuji will get 3 points because he had an explanation to go with it. All right. Okay. Number 13. What did Arjuna decide to do in the end to satisfy Krishna, Bhima, and Draupadi? So this one doesn't have any options. You have to say it yourself. So what did Arjuna decide to do in the end to satisfy Krishna, Bhima, and Draupadi? So remember, when he was in a dilemma, he had to do something that satisfied all 3 people. Krishnendra Prabhu, do we get 3 points? Did you give an explanation? I don't see it. Okay, Sumit Prabhuji, satisfy all by taking away Ashwatthama's jewel and hair, which is worse than death. Yes, absolutely correct. 3 points for that. Anybody else? For Kshatriyas, yes, for Kshatriyas. It is worse than death. Something similar also happened to another person in the Mahabharata. He was also humiliated and his hair was shaved from his head. Can anybody give me his name? Krishnendra Prabhu gave both right answers. So if you give right answer, you get 2 points. But if you give an explanation too, then you get 3 points. Vishnupati Mataji, satisfy all by taking off the jewel and hair, which is as good as killing Ashwatthama. Yes, so he satisfied all 3 people. Sudharma Mataji, Arjuna shaved Ashwatthama's head, made him look disgraced. Yes. Oh, Krishnendra Prabhu, Yudhishthir and Draupadi. Others just said Draupadi. Are you sure you didn't have that answer after I said it? But yes, you'll get 3 points for that. Well done. You got both of them correct. You figured out the trick question. Priyanka, Jarasandha, not quite, but it's a similar name. Jarasandha was who Bhima fought for so many days and finally killed him with Krishna's intelligence. But this person is different. The question is, somebody in the Mahabharata who was on the Kaurava side and helped kill Abhimanyu by blocking the Chakravyu, he was also shaved. All his hair was cut off. Oh, Krishnendra Prabhu, it was before. There's a lag. Yes, I already gave you 3 points. So, well done. And you also gave the answer. Jayadratha, yes, that is correct. Jayadratha had his hair shaven off. Yes. And then there's another story behind that, of how he prayed to Shiva and got a boon. Yes, Sudharma Mataji, you got it. Alright, we are done. So today we learned the Akshay Patra story. And we learned how Krishna is always there for his devotees, and how Draupadi is a great devotee of Lord Krishna. And whenever she is in distress, she calls out to him. And Sun Prabhuji also said Jayadratha. Yes. Now everybody's saying Jayadratha. Yes, that is correct. These answers are all correct. So today we learned the Akshay Patra story and how Krishna is always there for his devotees, and how Draupadi has so much faith in Krishna, and how we should always follow Krishna's instructions and never doubt them. Does anybody want to elaborate on what they learned from the Akshay Patra story? If you were here, then we'll just wrap up after. Anybody? So what did you get out of the story? What was the moral that you think you could carry from this story, and practice it in your lives, or something you thought was so cool and inspirational. Okay, Srimad Prabhuji, pure devotee of the Lord always have compassion even for their enemies. Yes, I did not mention that. Yes, absolutely. So Draupadi had compassion for Ashwatthama, even though he had killed her sons. Krishnendra Prabhu, the Pandavas didn't want Jayadratha's wife to be a widow. Yes, that is correct. Absolutely. I'll give you 3 points for that. Woohoo! You got 3 points. Krishnendra Prabhu, Draupadi also felt compassion for Ashwatthama's mother. Yes. Yes. Priyanka, the Pandavas were giving mercy. Yep. So when you are saying they were giving mercy, you also have to elaborate on how they were giving mercy. So what were they doing to show their mercy? Thank you very much, everybody, for sharing what you got out of the story. Nanda Nandanika, it is better to be forgiving. Yes, we should always forgive and forget. So when people make mistakes, or when misunderstandings take place, we should always forgive and forget. If we just do one of the two, it doesn't work. So we should never hold a grudge against someone, and we should always forgive and forget. Anybody else want to add anything? Otherwise, we'll just wrap up. So thank you very much, everybody, for sharing what you got out of the story. And today we had a very special session on the story of Draupadi and the magical pot. And maybe next time we're going to have another very nice story, an inspirational story, and a separate quiz to go along with it. So thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you next Thursday. But please come on this Saturday for another wonderful lecture by another wonderful devotee. So, Hare Krishna, everybody. I hope to see you on Saturday. Hari Bol! Thank you very much.